Hey, friends. Welcome to episode 10 of the Her Faith at Work podcast. We are officially in double digits. I feel so important. When I first started podcasting, someone told me that only 1% of podcasters ever make it past episode 10. So technically, we are winning, friends. We're winning. And thank you so much for being along the journey with me. I'm super excited about episode 10 today because it's my very first interview show, and I get to introduce you to the amazingness of my good friend, Melanie Studley. She is the creator, producer, and co-host of the Anatomy of Us podcast. It's a show that's been providing real help for real couples for over 7 years. Y'all, 7 years in the podcast world. That's hashtag podcast goals right there. She became a professional audio engineer in order to create her show. Talk about some grit. And now has moved into places in the business world that she absolutely never thought was possible. She loves helping people thrive through structure and systems and organization and planners. She is a girl after my own heart. And she actually created some of these things to help keep herself in check with her ADHD that she struggles with. So, without further ado, welcome to episode 10 of Her Faith at Work with Melanie Studley. Let's do it. Truth time. When's the last time you raised your hands for a swift kick in the pants? Well, I'm the no-nonsense type friend who's going to tell you when you have food in your teeth. So, let's get right to it. This is your infusion of sacred and secular, calling you higher into who God created you to be, how intimately faith applies to every part of your life, and how you can live that faith walk every single day in the marketplace. I've felt the tension of separation of church and state. I've been one of a few women at a table of men for decades, and I've stood my ground. Are you ready to do the same? These tools, resources, and interviews are meant to do just that. I'm Jan Touchberry, and it's time to share her faith at work. Tell me about you. What's your journey been like, and kind of where are you at?
Yeah, well, first I want to tell you thank you for having me. I mean, I was so excited when you reached out. I just love you. I love your vibe. So it was like it was both exciting and like an honor to just be invited to this conversation. So thank you for that.
You're so welcome.
But a little bit about me. I came into the world of podcasting and the world of business on accident, sort of. So my husband and I have a podcast that we've been doing for 7 years now called Anatomy of Us. And it started because we had a really terrible marriage. It started because when I think it was 5 years into our marriage, we had this huge meltdown moment. My husband was in school to become a Christian marriage and family therapist. He had admitted to lying and looking at pornography while I was holding our 2-week baby in my arms, and our 1-year-old baby was sleeping in his crib. I just fell apart. I mean, I absolutely fell to pieces. I was so destroyed because I thought, well, certainly I married a Christian man, so this kind of stuff won't happen. I had only recently become a Christian myself. And so in my own world, everything just fell apart and I had no idea what to do. And so that began our journey of insane marriage stuff because we had to fix that with, again, a 2-week-old and a 1-year-old. We had only been married, I think, for 5 years. And that began our actual work inside of our marriage. And then as we started to do that work, we realized that the marriage resources that were available to us at the time, back in like 2013 or whatever it was, were like really not amazing. Like they were amazing if your marriage was great and you were like a normal, docile person. But that wasn't me. My marriage was not great. I was not a normal, docile person. I'm high energy. I'm ADHD for sure. And so when we dove into like healing our marriage, I felt like, wait, something is missing. Like this authentic, raw side of marriage content is missing. And I want someone to talk to me about this. So we actually I wanted to create a podcast to figure out how does this stuff work? That's why it's called Anatomy of Us. It's the tearing it apart. You're dissecting it. You're looking at all the pieces. Why did stuff go wrong? How do we fix it? What did we not know that we needed to know? And that's where like our journey with podcasting started. And I actually learned how to become an audio engineer to make my show. And thankfully, I have a lot of friends like in the audio world and the music business. And so I kind of became a little like a kind of like a little intern and learned everything from them. And then I actually began to professionally produce other shows while making my own show. But what's really cool, sort of like the bigger picture of all of this, is that I have always wanted to help people, always. And I didn't know that it would be my own sort of traumatic marriage event that would be the catalyst for me finally stepping out and doing that work. But that's what I feel really called to do, is helping people and creating systems and things that help people. So that's what I do in all areas. So the podcast is Anatomy of Us, that turned into coaching, that turned into all these other ventures. I make planners. I do anything with systems to help people succeed. So I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but that's what you got.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I had one little caveat. You also breed dogs.
I do breed dogs. So it's funny, I can see them running out the window in my studio here. I discovered that I have a love of Australian Shepherds. So we got an Australian Shepherd. His name is Douglas Fir. He's amazing. Everybody loves Doug. I mean, he should be the poster for dogs. And so I was like, man, he's so wonderful. What if we got like a little female and then we bred them? And so that's what we do. So I think we've had 6 litters now, and it is so much fun. I can't tell you the like endorphin, lovely, like oxytocin high that you get from holding like 7 puppies in your arms. There's nothing, nothing better. And we even do puppy parties. So we just invite people to our house and be like, have a puppy party. Like it'll be like pumpkins and puppies, or, peonies and puppies, whatever.
Oh my gosh. And is that a business? Because you can charge for puppy parties. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
They're for sure people.
I'm going to do puppies and Pilates this round. We'll have a round due in April.
Love it. So I want to just kind of hone in on something you said about systems and processes and organization. I've listened to your podcast a lot. And so helping people grow is a thing. Yes. Not stay stuck, not stay where you're at. And so many, I think, of my listeners are businesswomen who, if you're a businesswoman and you've been a businesswoman for a minute, you know that you go through times that you're stuck, and systems and processes are hard for most people.
Yes.
And so I know that you said that it kind of stemmed from your need of them because of your ADHD, right?
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about your ADHD and kind of your struggle there, and what led you into this space and what you've created for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I will say is, and this is just for anyone listening who might have had a similar experience. So I didn't do great in school when I was a kid because I was often daydreaming or like doing weird word associations in my head or singing the songs that the words made me think of. And I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know it was ADD. I didn't know what it was. I just was like, well, this is fun. Like I'm just in my own world and it's fun. But teachers didn't love it or appreciate it. And so I always really struggled with systems. And then I discovered something just this week, and I figured out why I struggled with in school so much, because I could only see a part of it. Now, this is going to sound a little bit weird, but I think you'll understand what I mean. And if you're an ADHDer out there or a dyslexic person out there, you will also understand this. I have dyslexia as well. I didn't realize that my mind is wired to see the full picture and work backwards. I am not wired to see to just look at the day or the thing and then figure out how it's attached. I actually have to like push backwards from it and look at the whole big picture. And oftentimes, most things don't work that way. Most people are only like in school, you're given the thing you're working on now, not the full picture of how it works with the stuff you're going to be working on in a year. So that was a discovery again recently that I made as I go into these new business ventures. I'm like, I need to know what my strengths and weaknesses are with dyslexia, with ADHD. And so I can really like thrive and not have these things totally mess me up. But the reason I discovered and created my planners was, again, I needed to see a full day and all the elements of a day, not just what's my to-do list and then hope I can remember to eat right somewhere. Like it needed it to be all in one spot, you know?
Right.
And so over years, I've developed systems for my mind to work through one full day successfully taking into account everything I need to take into account. And when I say everything I need, I mean biopsychosocial spiritual, right? So what does my body need? What does my mind need? What do I need with my relationships? What do I need for my like time with God? What, all of that stuff needed to be accounted for in one space. And so that's why I created my planner, which is called the Prayer Planner Plus Journal. So journaling, I also like journaling is a part of a daily routine that everybody says you should do it. Well, I don't want to have a planner and a journal. So I connected them. I made them one. But really I understood again, through just iterative processes of doing it over and over and over and refining it as I went, that if I could see a whole day and I knew that every element was in there and all I had to do was go through and check them off, I would actually have a great day instead of like, oh, well, I forgot to eat, protein today. All I ate was carbs. Right? Like, it's stuff like that actually matters a lot and helps me be immensely productive in a day. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So when did you create that planner?
I've probably been using it for 3 years, but really kind of fine tuned it in the last year and got it into Amazon so that it's purchasable for people.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can show you how it works. Like I can give you a little overview of what a day looks like. Cause
I would love that.
They're a little bit shocked by what they see. So this is what when I am working on it, what it looks like.
So you use color. You're a color girl.
I am. I need to see. And it's funny because it's not color coordinated. It's just whatever color pen I grab. I just go, yeah, pink, purple. There's no color coordination happening. But basically it goes through my full day. It starts, and I'll just read through if that's all. Is that okay?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
So it's undated, by the way. So you fill out the date and the day so that you're not wasting paper. That's another thing that as an ADHD person, when something is dated and I've wasted 30 pages, it just makes me feel bad. So I'm like, this is undated on purpose. So the very first block that you start in is today's prayer. So you just write like today, and this one says, Lord, help my wishes and dreams become a reality. Help me help millions of lives, help me grow millions of marriages. That's what it says in my prayer. And it's not always like that. They're different each day, The next one is I am thankful for. And it's just, you put in your gratitude. That's the very first thing that you do. Then you go down the line and you set your time tracking and your food and water tracking. They're in the same block. So I had to have my food and meal stuff in a timeline, not just like over in another box somewhere, because I don't remember to eat throughout the day. Or another hot trick that I do, I'll eat twice because I don't remember that I already ate. And listen, it's just facts, okay? Sometimes I forget that I ate and I'll eat again. So I had to have food and water tracking on my timeline. And then down here, I have my mood tracking. So it says today I feel, and it says determined. And then I have habit tracking. So get sunlight, 25 minutes minimum of exercise, worship music, laugh, love languages, talk with a friend, family time, meal prep, pray. And then over here, how many hours did I sleep? How much do I weigh? And some people might think that's a really silly thing to measure, but what gets measured gets managed. And if I can look through this and I can go, oh, I started gaining weight 6 months ago when this stressful thing started happening. Now you have now you can do something effective and helpful with the knowledge you have. It's just a data point, right?
Right.
And then we have your vision, where you cast your vision every day. So let's see what I wrote. So this is going to be kind of funny. To have a barn dough, to help millions of couples thrive, and to raise dogs. So that's basically like what I have on all of them, but it's slightly different. Inspiration and affirmation. This inspiration for this one, Joyce Meyer started when she was 40. Martha Stewart started her company when she was 50. So that is inspiring for me, right?
I'm in the zone.
Right. We're there. So these two boxes are my absolute favorite. Thoughts that keep me stuck and thoughts that set me free. So
those are good.
They are. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute, but underneath here is just your to-dos. It's just the stuff you got to get done in the day. And then below that is your journaling section. It's just one paragraph spot for journaling.
I love that the journaling isn't like overwhelmingly long. Because I'm the type of person that I feel guilt over journaling. I don't know if anybody else feels guilt over not journaling, but I feel guilt over it.
Yeah, but hand me an empty journal. I'm like,
Exactly right. It's intimidating. And I'm like, I don't know what to put in there. I need prompts. I need something. Give me something, people. And so I like that it's small enough that it's not overwhelming
Yes.
and it doesn't make me feel like I have to fill out a full page.
Right. And I don't love to write. I don't love
I don't either.
handwriting. My handwriting is like chicken scratch. So I'm like, I don't want to look at that for a whole page. But part of the reason that I like it, and it ends up for me being a little bit of a recap for the day, because I end my day by journaling, and then I set up my day for the next morning. So it ends up being like a gratitude journal of the day. Like, I'm so thankful that I did this and I went here with my kids and it was so fun. Like, it ends up being a really organic feeling kind of recap and gratitude.
Oh,
For me.
that's great.
And so I really, really love it. But I would love to circle around to the thoughts that keep me stuck and the thoughts that set me free portion.
Yes.
If you're okay with
Yes,
that.
please. Yes.
That initially came from, I have run women's groups over the years, and we did an event in Seattle in 2022, I think, or 2023. And it was the coolest thing where I made these little cards for women. And on one of the cards was, was the front said thoughts that keep me stuck, and the back said thoughts that set me free. And I made decks of cards, like little, there's this, it's hard to explain, but anyway, this was one of the cards that was the most effective and impactful for people, because most of the time we don't take the time to identify a thought that keeps us stuck for anything, whether that's in your marriage or your own personal, like your well-being, your mental health, your whatever. And so I started this practice in my journal, in my planner, just because I like every day I feel like it's too hard, like something's too hard. That's a thought that keeps me stuck. It's too hard. And so if you go back and you look at my old journals, oh, it's so amazing. Like the growth that you see as you have to write down every single day, what's the thought that keeps you stuck? It's too hard. And then you go, the thought that sets me free. No, I can actually do it. I just need to learn what the next step is. So then the next day it might be, what's the thought that keeps you stuck? No one is helping me. And you go, oh, the thought that sets me free. No, some people are helping me. I'm just frustrated, but I do have help. So you're actually like bringing this mental block to the planner and then solving it right there with a powerful, empowering thought that also is clarifying for your next steps. And then again, the coolest part is over time, you get to see how you've grown. My thoughts so actually, here's what's funny. This is what it says on this one. Thoughts that keep me stuck. My thoughts don't keep me stuck. That's what I write down. So
Take that.
I know, yeah. Take that one, planner. Yeah, so it's really cool. And the same thing with like the mood tracking. When you've done it long enough, you see your mood change over time with this improved system where you're like, I feel determined every day now, where before I'd be like, I'm overwhelmed, I'm sad, I don't know, I'm confused. And now I'm like, I'm out here to win. Like I feel amazing. And so it's just such a cool, it's cool.
That is very cool. Very cool. So before we jump off of the planner, you have another planner.
Yes.
Can you talk about that for a minute? Because here's what I know that, I don't know, but my supposition, because the analytics don't give me that, but my supposition is that the majority of women who are going to come and listen to my podcast are probably married and are either working with their spouse or for sure, most of them, if not all of them, hopefully, Lord, are living with their spouse. And in order to have, in order to be a powerful businesswoman, you got to be firing on all cylinders. And if your marriage is not working, your business probably ain't working either.
Right. Right.
So anyway, you have a planner for that. It's like there's an app for that.
I know.
Melanie has a planner for that.
I know. And it's funny because this is where I'll tell you the origin. So that you're talking about the Power Couple Planner, which is one of my favorites. It's so beautiful. This is actually my actual Power Couple Planners in the house, which I wish that I had brought it. I don't know why I didn't, but this is just a copy for us. So the Power Couple Planner concept, again, it came from this idea of like, there is a way to do marriage correctly from a planning perspective. And again, in our work with clients, we just kept seeing the same problem. Like, oh, surprise, surprise, we don't go on dates. Well, why not? Well, nobody schedules it. Well, that's not hard to solve, right? Or we don't know what to talk about. Or so they would just have the same like 15 problems over and over and over again. And every couple that we worked with had them. And I'm like, okay, enough's enough. I'm going to put this into one thing that helps couples for an entire year to plan out successfully all the stuff that it takes to have an amazing marriage. Again, same thing. It's
So
not
awesome.
dated. So you're not wasting pages. You didn't buy half a book if it starts in August or whatever. But basically the whole point of this, again, is a little bit of dual purpose to give to my clients. So when you work with us, you get these, right? You get one for yourselves as couples. And basically it's walking through, like the bulk of it is your day, your week at a glance. So you've got this week at a glance, and what does it look like? And what are we doing on Sunday to connect? What are we doing on Monday connect? Like when, and again, you can, pardon me if people don't like this, but some couples need to schedule intimacy because no one will initiate. When is it? Is it on the calendar? Is it in there? And what I love about the Power Couple Planner is that it's not your, it's not the calendar hanging in your kitchen. So you're not hoping your kids don't figure it out, right? It's its own like living, breathing tool to help you and your spouse really plan out and cast a vision for your marriage. And there's vision planning tools in here. There's your weekly layout. There's your bi-weekly assessment. How did we do? There's gratitude every week. You write gratitude. Your husband or wife writes gratitude. There's something like 100 date night ideas. There's 230 conversation starters. There's a thing called the clearing structure. That's a conflict resolution tool. That is it's a therapy-based conflict resolution tool that I put in here and I adapted for just normal everyday use, so that if you have a fight or a problem that you cannot solve, pull out the Power Couple Planner, go to the clearing structure, and it is a step-by-step strategy to solve problems, feel heard, and on a positive note. Like everything is in there that I want to tell my clients when we work together, and it's for a full year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. The clearing structure thing alone, I was listening to the podcast where you guys had just rolled it out and you detailed everything that was in it. Fantastic podcast. I'm going to link that in the show notes for people who want to go back and listen to it, because it really tells you exactly what you're going to get and why it's so beneficial for your marriage. But one of the things that was in there that was the clearing structure piece, I got thinking, yes, it's fantastic for marriage, but you can literally use it in every aspect of your life. You can use it with business dealings. You can use it with your children. You can use it with other family members. Like, it's just such a great tool, specifically the clearing structure piece, that you can learn and focus on your marriage. Then when you get that one down, you can learn to do it in all these other areas of life. It's so great.
We have stories of clients using this with their in-laws, their own parents, with their employees or employer, with their children. I mean, it is a phenomenal tool, and it just slows down the thought process. It makes you get really clear and granular before just sort of blurting something out that might not make sense, or that might feel mean or offensive or presumptuous or whatever. It literally requires your brain to go, slow down. Is that what you mean? Are you sure that's what you mean? And for most people, that's all they need. And their conflict will be resolved. Yeah. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah. So great. Do you have an episode about the other planner as well?
What's funny is it's coming out like this week, I think, next week.
Okay.
I think it'll be like 2 weeks from now. So.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that is perfect timing.
Yay. Okay, so I want to shift for a minute, and this podcast is Her Faith at Work. And so one of the things that I want to do with every single person who comes on my podcast is talk about how your faith has influenced your life and your business specifically. But you have a really unique story. So a little backstory. Melanie and I met during an elite level mastermind. Shout out to Brooke Thomas and your all the LOL girls. It's amazing. But we met and connected right away for a lot of different reasons. But Melanie is a amazing singer. She is trained in opera, and somewhere there's a video of you singing in a stairwell that is like angelic. It's like it was on repeat for me for a couple of days. I'm not gonna lie. I know that's weird. Is that weird?
No.
Didn't mean to go to the weird space. Anyway, but she was a worship leader. And if you are in the Christian world, you may have heard of Mars Hill. And we're not going to go into a whole lot of that, but Melanie was a worship leader at Mars Hill. And so I'm not going to tell your story. I'm going to let you tell your story. But there are so many, and I'm really going to try not to get emotional when I talk about this, because I also work at a church. I'm in full-time vocational ministry, and I know it's hard. And it's hard when people from the outside look at people who are inside the church, especially on staff or in high level leadership of a church. And we're under a microscope all the time and held to a different standard, which we should be held to a different standard. We absolutely should be. But it's hard. And then when bad things happen, it's even harder. It's like what is the magnifying glass where it's put under the sun and it's like beaming on you and you burst into flames?
Yeah.
It's kind of how it would feel.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like there's so many people, not just people who've been inside, the church on staff or in high level leadership, but just people who are in the church who have gotten hurt by the church and have walked away from the church, and not just the church, but God.
Yeah.
And so I just want you to tell a little bit of that part of your story, because I think it affects everything else.
Yeah. So I'm going to back up a few years before being at Mars Hill. I became a Christian at 19, very unexpectedly. It was not in my purview at all. I had grown up out in the Seattle area. Like, you just do whatever. I had a shaved head. Like, you just don't care. Right. Like, when I was 15, I got my nose pierced like a cow, like all the things, tongue pierced, all of it, just crazy, just do whatever. And that's how I lived for, almost 20 years of my life. And I worked at a Starbucks where every single employee I worked with was a Christian. All of them. And they were amazing. And they were all in the Christian music scene, like this early 2000s emo, like amazing, whatever scene. And then, so I was just surrounded by this like total incubator of kindness, love, like genuine Christian people doing genuine stuff, like service and helpful. It was just amazing. And I became a Christian. Totally wasn't expecting it. And so that shaped how I saw Christianity, because it was a choice. I chose it. And I chose it and lost a lot of my old friends. I lost all my old friends because of it. I don't have a single friend from high school, because I was a different person before I knew Jesus, not an ideal person before I knew Jesus. All of my tattoos, though, came after I knew Jesus. So that's like one thing I got on my side, right? Like, you can't say they were pre-Jesus. So when I got married to my husband, we started going to Mars Hill. Mars Hill was new at the time. It was very young. And we would drive like an hour to go to church. And the community was just amazing, like so different and awesome. And so we served there for like over 10 years in different things. And by the time that stuff kind of got crazy at Mars Hill, I was doing worship with Dustin Kinsrew, who is the lead singer of Thrice. He's like literally a famous musician who tours the world. He's also amazing, just a super nice guy. And I could see, I began to see that stuff was really imbalanced. Like, it's not how it's supposed to be. Like, why isn't this working? And kind of walking through that tension inside of the church, but seeing how people weren't able to talk and people weren't allowed to say things, and really seeing the sort of, not politicking, there's another word for it. The politics inside of a church, like seeing it was super weird. But again, I had chosen that life. I chose it. I knew that there was an alternative life out there. And this was one that I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. I'll make it work. Like, I'll get it. And then it all exploded and fell apart. We lost our community of 10 years. Like, everything shifted and changed. And then all of a sudden I was thrust into a world of, I'm in a kind of dysfunctional church, but I have a massive community and I really love what I do, to all of a sudden, like, I have no community, because that church body was built from miles and miles and miles of our larger Pacific Northwest area. So all of a sudden my community is completely gone. And all of my friends now are like church hurt survivors.
Right.
And you're like, wait, what? Like, when did this happen? Like, what is happening? I don't know how to navigate that to this. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I don't have a church that I go to. I don't know what the next steps look like. And in that process, I got to see how people interpreted what had happened and how they believed it meant something about their faith. That was a very interesting thing, because all of a sudden deconstruction language was just blossomed out of this. And I remember thinking, I don't like that word. Like, I don't like deconstruct. It seemed weird. It seemed wrong. But at the time, I was surrounded by so many people who were like hurting so badly that I'm like, okay, I'll just like be here with you while we talk about this. And maybe I'm wrong about this. But what ended up happening, and you saw some of this pain when we were at the event, you saw the church hurt that I had walked through and not known how to navigate. But what it has taught me now, and what I see on the other side of it, was that I wasn't actually hurt by a church. I was hurt by people who run a church. I was hurt by a dude who was, power hungry. I've been backstage with Mark Driscoll plenty of times, seen him work. He's a great preacher. He's very skilled, oratorially speaking or whatever. But I've watched people, the dynamic, the sort of interpersonal dynamic around him. And I knew something was unhealthy, but I didn't know what to do about it. And I also didn't really care. I was like, whatever, like, he's not why I come here. I come here for Katie and Eli and, Jennifer and all these other people. I don't actually come here for him. And I come here for Jesus. Right. And so what was weird is because I felt like I had this perspective of like, I can parse out that it isn't my faith that is so injured here. It's actually that guy that was kind of jerky and messed up a bunch of stuff. But it did take a toll on my belief in myself when that church fell apart. It took a toll on my belief that, like, did I waste 10 years of my life singing for something that's just, fallen apart? And what am I even doing? And maybe God doesn't even call people. Like, it messed with what I thought was the voice of God. Maybe that's a way of saying it.
Yeah. So how and when did God dig you out of that? How did he help you?
Yeah, it was at the Live Out Loud event. I mean, it was being surrounded by, number one, women of faith. I think there's such a lack of just that unifying community. And I think it needs to grow and be more, and everyone should have a Live Out Loud experience moment like we had, because that was it. It was like, I was in the bottom of a pit going, well, my church fell apart. The church across the street doesn't, like, it just felt like nothing was working in church. And I did have injuries with, like, well, I guess God doesn't really this, and I'm not really that. I had all this doubt. Maybe that's a better way to say it. I had all this doubt. And I felt like I was in the bottom of a hole. And all of a sudden I look up, and there's all these amazing, beautiful women looking down going, you ready to come up here? Like, are you ready to live in God's calling? Because we'll help you get up.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like, dust off the stuff off your pants and maybe change your shoes and come on, get up here. You've got work to do. And so that to me was the transformative moment, was the Live Out Loud event. It was transformative and I think it's just how God works. God works through community. God doesn't work the same way in isolation that God does in community. And so for me, it was
truth.
Yeah. It was like having your faith be given to me to help me get out of that. Just like it would muscles pull me up and out, your faith pulled me up and out. Right. And every woman in that room, their faith pulled me up and out. That's that story.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I had a little bit of what I think is a God moment. So I was driving home. I had like an hour drive, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to put on Anatomy of Us, and I'm going to listen to some of the podcasts in preparation for this interview. And it was dark, and I was in my car. And so I'm trying to find the podcast, but I'm not looking at and so literally I feel like God chose the podcast for me. And it was the one on the Power Couple Planner. Mm-hmm. And Seth is her husband. Seth said, just a minute, I want to start this with prayer. Mm-hmm. And I got the feeling that was the first podcast that he had done that on.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, interrupted it. And
yeah. And he said something at the beginning of that podcast and this was, I think, January of last year, 2023, mm-hmm. right? He said something to the effect of, things are getting ready to change around here because something happened in November and December of 2022. Mm-hmm. And whatever that was that happened made him open his Bible for the first time in 5 years. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think when the Lord shifts things like that was right around the time that it was shifting for you with LOL, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And when the Lord takes what you think you know and the muck and the mire that you've been sitting in for a while, and decides, especially with a couple who work together,
Yeah.
to at the same time he's working in your lives and he's pulling you both out. And like, I was listening to Seth talk about this and I was literally crying in my car because of the goodness of the Lord not to leave you there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he's so good not to leave you there. If you're just willing to give him your hand and let him lead you where he really wants you to go. And it's so beautiful to watch. I know that one of the things that you said really changed between both of you, that I think had a drastic change on your family and your business, as well as your marriage, was that you started praying together, but you were like, I remember a picture of you sitting across from each other, holding hands, praying together. Can you just talk about that for just a second?
Yeah. Yeah. Prayer. So to go back to the very beginning when our marriage started to fall apart years and years ago before the podcast, that's what saved our marriage, is that, and I didn't even share this, that when we went through the hardest parts of our marriage, at one point, I gave Seth a black eye. That's a part of our story, is that he went to hug me. I was angry and I literally punched him in the face, which is shocking. And what's even more shocking is that when I tell this at live events, people clap. And I'm like, no, that's not what I meant. Like, I didn't mean for you to clap, which it's clearly touching a nerve. But the thing that got us through that first season of real hardship in our marriage was that Seth set daily prayer alarms. He prayed for us. Now, I didn't always participate because I was not in a great space back then. But he prayed for us 6 times a day. Wow. And set alarms and did that for 2 years.
Wow.
Like, prayer, the power of prayer, you just cannot underestimate the power of prayer to bring two minds together. And I think especially prayer in marriage. And something that we find too is that sometimes we'll have clients who are Christian and have been married for 10 years who have never prayed together. They just don't know. It feels weird. Who does it? Who leads? What do you say? And I think that is such a tool of the devil to make people be like, oh, that's weird. Don't do it. It's awkward. Don't do it. And it's like, oh no, it's like the most powerful thing that couples can do is prayer. It ignites, you're like tapping into the electrical circuit of the Holy Spirit and into much bigger realms of understanding and love and kindness for one another. But if you never do it, you never get those things, you know?
Absolutely.
And, prayer has been and continues to be an absolutely vital and transformative part of our relationship.
Just being in the church for so many years, like, and on church staff, there are people on church staff who don't like to pray out loud.
Yeah.
And because they're embarrassed. I'm like, how are you embarrassed at a conversation that you're having with God? But that is one of those limiting beliefs, right? What's your planner? The things that keep me stuck, not wanting to pray out loud.
Yeah. Yep.
Because people are going to think I'm silly, or whatever that limiting belief is that keeps you from having a conversation with your creator. And Satan is winning. He's winning.
Yeah.
That is a gift that we have to connect with the creator of the universe. And we can't let him keep us from that.
Absolutely.
He doesn't get to muzzle us anymore.
Right. And I will say something, like, if people do struggle with that and they're worried about prayer or they say, or they're uncomfortable or they're whatever, it's not about you. And I know that sounds like maybe a hard thing to say, but prayer isn't about you. Like I'm going to use a weird analogy, but you know, I have kids and my daughter is 11. She's home right now. I homeschool her. And when I talk to her about how great she is, it's not about me. I'm not telling her how great she is so that I feel something, so that I feel secure, or that hopefully she'll think I sound good. Whatever. It's not about me. It's about her.
Yeah.
And if I could give that insight to people, just to think of prayer, it's not about you. Nobody cares how you sound. If they're thinking about how you sound, number one, they're not thinking about prayer correctly either. Right. So if you can get past that block, it's like a next level of awareness, a next level of growth, all of that. I'm going to use a really weird analogy here, but it's like Pilates. Okay. I do Pilates. I am obsessed with Pilates. I go to the Pilates studio.
Puppies and Pilates.
I know, right? And what I used to go to Pilates and I would be very like weird, like don't breathe loudly. Like you're supposed to like breathe loudly. It's like kind of like yoga. Like you're supposed to do it on purpose. It's like this intentional breath thing. And I used to just be so self-conscious about it. And then over the years, I've done it for like 2 years or something. Now I do it without thinking. And I catch myself, I'm like, oh, like I'm doing the breathing thing all the time. And I don't even think about it now because I'm actually in Pilates doing, like I'm absorbed in the action of the exercises.
Yeah.
Thinking about what people think I should be doing while I do my exercise, right? So it's a totally different level of connection. And I encourage you, push past that. If you are struggling with that, push past it and talk just to God. Don't worry about the ears that can hear you. Worry about the God that hears you. You know?
Oh, that's good. That's a mic drop moment right there. When you were talking about Seth's alarms, it makes me think about what in your business would change? What in my business would change if I set 6 prayer alarms a day to pray for the Lord's guidance, wisdom, provision, fill in the blank, whatever it is around my business. If I did that for 2 years, what's my business going to look like in 2 years? Holy cow.
Yeah, it changes everything. It's like a course correction hourly. It really is. Because sometimes people go months between praying. And by the time you've wandered off a trail for months, you got months to come back. So think of it like this micro course correction all the time. Led by the higher power, like led by God. So it's just amazing. So
good. So good. Well, this has been so rich. We may have to do 2 episodes because I don't really want to cut any of those. Yeah, this is like, it's so good. So good. I know that you've talked about your planners. Tell us where they are available for people to get them, because I know they're going to want to go get them.
Yeah, you can get them on Amazon. And then I also should get it on anatomyofus.com. It's not there yet, but it'll get there. I'll put it on there on our website as a product as well. So you can buy it through anatomyofus.com. And the Power Couple planners at anatomyofus.com. Every other thing. I mean, we've got a bunch of different resources, free resources and different tools and stuff that are available there. And you can also learn about coaching if you're interested in couples coaching. All the information is on our website there too. So
fantastic. Well, I'm going to link all of that in the show notes so you can find Melanie and their podcast and all the things. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I just love it. We need to do this more often.
Yeah. Again, thank you for inviting me and for letting me. And then, yes, let's plan a second one and we can maybe even deep dive into a particular area. Like this is my favorite thing to talk about. So it feels like we've been talking for 2 minutes. So I feel like time has flown. But I want to say before we wrap it up, I'm going to speak this into the world. Are you ready for what I'm going to speak into the world?
I think so. I'm ready. Go.
Okay.
Go.
So one of my biggest dreams is to become the Joyce Meyer of marriage. I want to be speaking on stages, helping couples all over the world, helping families, all of it. So if your listeners or you have an event that you want me to speak at, have a retreat you want me to teach at, or just want to hang out with me, let's figure it out.
Yes, and yes. Friends, if you know of speaking opportunities, gosh, Melanie, you're so gifted and talented. We just want to help you fulfill that dream of becoming the Joyce Meyers of marriage. So thank you again for being with me. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for the gift that you are to the planet, really. I mean, you're just amazing. So friends, I hope you've gotten a lot out of this. Make sure you go and follow Melanie in all the places. Check the show notes, get the planners. I'm planning on picking up both of them. And let me just say this. If you're listening all the way to the very end, if you go and leave me a review on Apple Podcast over the next 7 days, I'm going to take all of those names and I'm going to draw a name and I'm going to give away one of Melanie's planners because they're fantastic and everyone needs one. So go support her. You can find her stuff down in the show notes. It'll send you to all the places. You guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Her Faith at Work. If the Lord put someone on your heart that you think needs to hear this message today, will you just smash that share button? And if you haven't already followed the show, I would love for you to do that. Super extra points if you hop over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. That helps the algorithm pick us up and drop us right in the AirPods of people that need to hear what the Lord is saying to them today. I hope you'll come back for the next episode of Her Faith at Work. The podcast comes out every Wednesday. And if you look down in the show notes, I've even got a couple of free downloads for you that I think you will really enjoy. With that, have a great week. See you next time.